Alright, hello everyone. Today we have the Corp 4th pack Reindeer Honglu teaser, and this shit is going to be a seasonless ID for the Charge team. And I think that this is quite interesting because it means that in the next season we might see a season of Charge support, just like how the current season has supported the Burn team very heavily, supported the Rupture team with the mouse, extremely powerful Rupture characters, and then the Blood Fiend gang is just Unga Bunga with a little bit of blood attached to it. That's really, really nice stuff. I can't wait to see if they will actually buff the purples, because I think the purple element right now is going to be the weakest one. We don't have Ricardo ID yet, so that's going to be a bit of a problem until we get him. When we get him in the next canto, it's going to be absolutely disgusting, and all of the counter teams will definitely make a lot more sense. And then I think if they add more Corps or even add someone like Nikolai into the game, we might see some very, very fancy stuff with the Charge Count team. Right now, I think Charge Count, besides Multi-Crack and W Otis, the rest of them are just very generic who don't really need any help, to enable their stuff, which is also a bad thing because they're kind of stuck. They can't get ridiculous multipliers like our current characters. So if we're going to go to a higher level of difficulty, I think they should probably give a little bit of a buff to the Charge team, and I think this is a nice little step on the way there. Right. So the second Radio Honglu actually has a little bit of lore implication, because if we look at the Corp from Ruina, we actually fought these guys twice because they are clones. If in Corp they can do a bunch of cloning, and because the head doesn't let you have multiple clones out there in the wild, you need to make all of the clones fight each other to the death, and then only one of them makes it out alive. And they did this twice, so like 2,000 Mios I think died. I can't remember if it's 100 or 1,000, but they just cloned a bunch of Mios, they made them all fight to the death, and then yeah, these are the best of the Mios that they cloned. So the rabbit that we see here might come later on also. Right now we have Rhino Gregor, we have Reindeer Ishmael, and we have Rabbit Heathcliff, and so far no Nikolai. But there are two Nikolais, and she's the captain of the 4th pack. And I think that if they release her, she'll have some very, very nice buffs for the Reindeer team, hopefully adding more multipliers to their skills, which are already very powerful stuff, but adding multipliers nowadays is the way to make things really, really strong. So yeah, this is going to be quite interesting because now we have two Rudolphs, basically, right? We have two Rudolph IDs, which means that the Rhino Gregor from Season 0, from that one little trailer where you see a Rhino Gregor in the background, this guy could be the next Maxim on the next ID for the Charge Count team later on. This is very, very exciting stuff. Lore-wise, it makes sense because we do have two of every single character here, and if they added another set of 4 Corps, I would totally accept it, really, because like it would just make so much sense, right? You would just have all of the same people that we fought in Ruina as different characters so that we could play all 6 of them in Limbus Company, something like that. That could be a really, really cool thing that they do later on. Anyway, lore-wise, we could be getting more Corps. I hope it's a very nice buff for the purple element, because I think that they definitely do need a little bit of help to catch up with all of the other statuses if we're going to the Star of the City level of power. Anyway, let's just go ahead and look at this Reindeer Honglu over here.
Limbus Company.
Right, so first things first, this is going to be a seasonless ID. And take note that this is going to go until the 15th. And 15th is when the season is going to change, right? The season change is going to happen on the 15th, which means that it's almost time for P-Moon to release their season guide. And then I'll use that to talk more about it, but I'll release the priority list I personally think you should be getting before we head on into the next season. If you don't know, understand what any of this means, it's the fact that when you go to the next season, your shards get halved. So you're encouraged to spend all of your shards right now. And so a lot of people will be wondering what's the priority. The actual priority is just get everything because you buy Battle Pass, but never mind. Some people start a little bit later, so they can't get everything. So there will be a little bit of a priority list for that one. Alright, anyway, let's continue.
그저 흐르는 대로 받아들이면.
Right, so Honglu absolutely pounding away at that ibuprofen because he has massive headaches, because the reindeer, they are meant to have some really, really bad headaches when they use their abilities, because Mind Whip is something that takes a lot of your sanity to do.
세상 어려울 게 없다고 생각했지요.
Bro is
그런데
not smiling anymore. He is absolutely focused and angry. This is very, very sad to see.
받아들이는
First
것만
skill, 1,
그냥 머리를 뚫고
3.
자라나는
I'm guessing it's 2, not 3, but yeah, skill 1 is going to be a 2-coiner. Then we have 1, 2, 3,
무엇도 참을 수 없어.
Take note, you're hitting the robot as well as the reindeer Ishmael, which means this is an AoE attack. But it could also be another way, because later on you will see that this Honglu only targets the robot and nothing else, right? So what I think that this mind wave is going to be is that if you hit your ally 50-50, if you hit your ally, you will hit the main target still. But if you have the charge count, then the Mind Whip will only hit the enemy and not hit the ally. I think that is what's going to happen here. So you might even consider gambling by using the skill 2 before you have the charge count, because you either way you still get the damage, right? So I think that is going to be quite interesting to see. If it's a 4-coin AoE, I think that is an insane amount of power creep, and that will make this Honglu like literally one of the best IDs in the game. So I don't think it's AoE just yet. I think that this Mind Whip is just if you lose 50-50, you hit the main enemy as well as one random ally, and then if you have the charge count, then you hit one main enemy. Right here, you can see it. He's only going to hit one robot. All right. So he's gonna do 1,
저희
2,
플롯과 얽혀
3,
싸우는 걸 추천드리지 않는다고.
Right, so that is what I think is going to happen with this skill 2 here. A 4-coin on the skill 2 though is quite nasty, so that's going to be quite interesting to see later.
누누이 말씀드렸잖아요.
Skill 3 is going to be this gigantic
그렇게
slam.
가까이 다가와서는
I believe he yells "Get away from Honglu" when he yells that. And this thing over here looks AoE, but from what I can tell, it only targets one enemy according to this image here, and they don't show an enhanced version of the skill tree. So it looks like they are releasing a sort of pretty solid generalist character. I don't know whether the skill 1 is the only charge count gain, or you need to use your guard skill in order to gain charge count, however. Because Mind Whip and this skill tree looks like they discharge the charge count. So most likely this character has a guard skill and a skill 1 that helps him to build up the charge count. Then you choose between skill 2 or skill 3, or maybe skill 2 has a, before you get 8 charge count, you will gain charge count, but you have to deal with a 50-50, and then after you hit 8, you can use the single target Mind Whip attack or something like that. I really don't know what they're planning with this character here. It could be a little spin on the current way that you play charge, which is just skill 1, skill 2, and then when you have a lot of charge, you press your skill 3. So they might be changing up that formula with this Honglu here. Right. Besides that, nothing much else. We just get to see Honglu be very, very in pain. Yeah. Using this Mind Whip ability is extremely painful for the mind, so he's having a lot of headaches, which is why he needs the drugs. Right. Yeah, that's really all there is I can say for this trailer over here. Really, really excited to see the actual coinage. If it is an AoE skill 2, this will be one of the strongest generalists in the entire game. No cap. Like, this is actually going to be really, really powerful generalists. So I'm still leaning towards the end that they are not going to be that strong yet. Right? Maybe later on that Super Honglu meta ID from the Kanto will be really, really powerful and totally upgrade everyone's power level. But right now, I think that this reindeer, the reindeers aren't really that high level of power. So he's going to be just a little bit different than the current reindeer Ishmael. And maybe later on, when we get Nikolai, you'll be able to run maybe 5 of the R Corps, the best ones, and then after that, you just use Nikolai to buff them for damage increase or something like that. Right. So anyway, that's just all my theories for now. If you have your own theories, feel free to let me know in the comment section. The fact that we have a 4-coin on the skill 2 looks really, really damn spicy. So I can't wait to see what happens. Maybe the skill 3, even though it's a 1-coin and only hits 1 target, it might have some crazy multipliers to compensate for it, or maybe it's somehow a way to gain charge count. I really don't know what they're trying to do here. Alright, so that's going to be it. Thanks guys for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.